Let's get it on. Forget the loss, the money. We're in this together and through it all. They said that nothing's forever, and they refuse to see the change in me. Why won't they wake up?
What up? It's your boy T-Burn Reaction. Today's Wrestling Wednesday, so we're about to get the final era of like people that was forgotten, totally forgot as well too. This is another one. Let me double check though. Shout out to Walt Culture, of course, as well too, with the cool wrestling biz era though. Let's see if they have anything from. No, not yet. Thank God. Oh, no, yet. So I think we're good. So anyway, we check out 10 wrestlers you do not remember from the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. I thought they may have went for the Reality Era. Who knows? But now we're going to take a look at 10 wrestlers you may remember from the PG Era. Oh, the mighty PG Era, the era that is definitely loved, but also probably the most hated. Mainly from the IWC, hence why the majority of wrestling fans of the IWC do not like kids, because they feel like there's a reason, because the PG era, and as well too, the PG era was the era that made John Cena the household name as well too, but also made him kid friendly and pissed off a lot of folks in the IWC, but it still had a good era for what it's worth as well too, and pretty entertaining as well too. But there's still may have been some folks you may not remember during that era. So without further ado, let's check out 10 PG era WWE superstar you totally don't remember. Let's get it.
The PG era to some is the best time in WWE ever. You've always got to remember that the first wrestling you see is the best. So you stumbled across World Wrestling Entertainment in 2008. I bet you loved it. More power to you. The rotating cast of wrestlers was totally nuts, which means there's some right bizarre choices in there, though. So let's run down 10 of these who you totally forgot. Understandably.
Okay, so they don't have one. So they don't have one for they don't have one for the Reality Era. So that's cool. So I didn't miss none. So anyway, let's keep going.
Kenneth Cameron, or TNA's Bram, or NWA's Thomas Latimer.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I totally remember. Maybe I knew about the name, but I totally remember Bram being on WWE. Wow.
WWE. Amazingly, Kenneth Cameron, as he was known, was one half of the Ascension in 2012.
Oh!
When Conor O'Brien got a proper
push. That's why, because he was on around this time, NXT was exclusive to Hulu, and I wasn't ready to get streaming service yet to do it. But I was kind of following it in a way by roster, so I knew majority of them, but I didn't remember as much. I definitely remember Connor, but still.
NXT. They were going to be the new Road Warriors.
Wow, so he was the first one.
It didn't take over in this guise, as Cameron was let go relatively soon for reasons outside of the ring, which is when Rick Victor was shifted into position instead. This is the version of the team you'll likely recall. Kenneth sort of felt like a modern Gangrel at times, as there was this vampire quality to him, but again, never know if this worked or not. It was over before it began. Number 9, Lena Yada. The former diva worked one TV match on the main roster, and if you remember this, you're amazing. Quite the memory. Lena would indeed team with Beth Phoenix, Jillian Hall, Katie Lee, Layla, Maurice, Natalia, and Victoria to beat Brie Bella, Candice Michelle, Eve Torres, Kelly Kelly, Mae Young, Michelle McCool, Mickie James, and Tiffany on the 3rd of November 2008 Raw. And yes, you can scream it with me, that is ridiculous. What makes it worse is despite all these body, the match only went 90 seconds, meaning Yada barely got involved. I mean, she didn't have any time. Yada still had quite the run, as she was hired around 2005 and was doing backstage announcer work in 2007. But clearly, it was this 6-woman tag that was the end. For some reason, 1 week later, she got cut. Truth is, during this time, WWE just hired a lot of people before moving on. Wasn't really the best thing, but hopefully such folk at least earn some decent money. Number 8, Michael Tarver. So this guy was way more memorable. He was part of the Nexus, or the guy that was in that group that wore the face mask. That is he. The issue was he was in a group that had so many people in it, Michael Tarver often faded into the background, even though he definitely had potential. WWE saw this too, and made sure he had a mic from time to time. He did more than fine. That rhymes, so it must be true. The only reason he vanished is because he got injured. Just as he was ready to return, he was released. This wasn't even his fault. The Nexus angle had been killed so hard, WWE didn't know what to do with any of them. We did see Tara in the background on some episodes of Raw and SmackDown, and this felt like a mistake. He should have had at least one proper run to see what we could do. But again, that is not what the PG era was all about. It was like one big revolving door. Number 7, Bam Neely. I mean, the name didn't help. Sounds like a child that's just banged its leg. Well, Bam also got compared to the default created character from the video games, which is also a death knell. But I do get it. WWE sent him out there in a black top and blue jeans. We went as generic as we could. He did debut as Chavo Guerrero's bodyguard, which was pretty cool in 2008. Given that relationship, Neely got TV time alongside Edge and Vicky Guerrero. No bad thing. Bam's last match was in 2010. The crazy part is he was rarely seen again. He didn't even go to TNA. He did defeat current Raw GM Adam Pearce for the Indies later that year, but after that, who knows? Number 6, Ricky Ortiz. In July 2008, we saw Atlas Ortiz arrive in ECW. Then 1 week later, he was Ricky Ortiz, but it did help him get drafted to SmackDown in 2009. Officials definitely saw something in this guy as he was focused on a lot for 3 months. Then he got fired. What happened? I mean, it didn't look good, to be fair. Just before this, Great Khali totally murked him. He did a small indie run before retiring in 2013, which feels like a shame. But this was to spend more time with former WWE Divas champ.
Like Roman Reigns before Roman Reigns on the cool. But yeah, I do remember Ricky Ortiz.
Champion Layla. I do believe the two are still married. The fall from grace needs to be revealed at some point, however. The sheer speed of the thing makes no sense. Really did feel like WWE had something when they just changed their minds. That's pretty cool. Really, if Ortiz was around now, he would be helped by NXT, but he wasn't. Definitely. I don't know why I mentioned it. Number 5, Lucky Cannon. What a name. Imagine that guy headlining WrestleMania. Lucky Cannon had a solid start as he was a former FCW champion when he appeared as a rookie in NXT's second season in 2010. This is when that was a reality show, meaning Mark Henry was his mentor. That's how it worked. It was a weird program at the time. It did help as Cannon seemed to have a pep in his step, and yet he could never get anywhere. I suppose no long-term booking didn't help. So when 2011 rolled around and WWE wanted to make some cuts, he was gone. Lucky hadn't had a chance to do anything. Much like others in this list, he worked a few indie shows before walking away for good, and this feels like a waste. I mean, go hunt him down right now, it could have been alright. He did call himself Mr. Steal Your Girl. That part wasn't great. It will lead you to this mad era of NXT.
Cody.
Be careful with that. You'll have questions, but there are no answers. It was just strange. That's about the longest.
Low key was on, even low key was on WWE. That's Cobalt, but yeah.
Short of it. Before Manu and Snooker. I worked with Manu, now Afa and Hawaii Jr. on the Last Match musical in 2024. Very nice man. He helped me a lot. He was also in WWE from 2008 to 2010, as was Sim Snooker. The only reason we put both of them here is because of their Samoan heritage and what's happening on TV right now. Could likely bring them back. They also have their connection of both being in Randy Orton's legacy group alongside Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. But man, was this done in fast forward. As soon as they got in there, they were out again. That meant we tried to turn them into a good guy tag team, but as we didn't invest enough time in that either, eventually they were let go. It's not a case of booking wrestlers incorrectly.
I'm familiar with Sim Snooker. He was part of Deuce and Domino. He was Domino Deuce. He was Deuce and Domino. Part of the Deuce and Domino tag team. And
then deciding they can't be used, it's old WWE through and through. Number 3, Kaylen Croft.
So I put this half of Trent Beretta.
Picture up on the screen because look at the guy on the left. That is indeed AEW star Trent Beretta teaming with Kaylen Croft as the Dude Busters. Let's face it, this rules. They existed mainly on ECW, which was good for 2009, as this is not what Vince McMahon had wanted. And should he have seen them, he likely would have fired them earlier. There was just an edict going around that everybody had to be massive. While the Busters were in shape, they were giants. Eventually they were tried on SmackDown, but that was never going to happen due to the above, and come November 2010, Croft was gone. It's the same story over and over again. His last match was against Luke Gallows, so really this was wrong place and the wrong time. Today, I really think they'd be perfect. Not sure Kaylen has done much of anything since. Maybe he realized that wrestling was really silly. Number 2, Eric Escobar. A former FCW champion and a former FCW tag team champion, Eric Escobar was built to be ready for the main roster. That was the whole idea. He got the nod in September 2009 and everybody agreed to stick to the plan. He was paired with Vicky Guerrero, who had just finished with Edge.
That's the only reason I kind of remember.
It just didn't get the attention it's needed, so they were done by January 2010. And even though a babyface run would have made sense, instead, WWE just released him. Let's not go over it again. Even though Vince McMahon was well known for getting bored
with... Majorities was like, they tried him, gave him a try, had their moments, then got released. Yeah, this is when the release was getting real crazy. That's the thing, was the start of the massive releases of wrestlings. Because, again, Budget Cup won, because probably this is around time when WWE was declining in a way, because they had barely had any competitions, they would do whatever they want, and it was starting to decline.
Talent, this one was way too fast for even that. Escobar beat some notable names such as Matt Hardy, and even had a tag team with Drew McIntyre for a while. But there was just no TLC. I don't think Vince cared. Eric did exist on the indies for a few years, but since 2015, looks like he's done with wrestling too. I get it. Number 1, Jackson Andrews. Jackson Andrews was ready for the stereotypical heater role in WWE. In fact, he was perfect for it. He would protect Tyson Kidd as best he could, but that meant he didn't really have any matches. Then he got released. I mean, what was WWE expect him to do? He definitely had the look because he was all jacked, but if the issue here was that he wasn't ready to go, I have an idea for you. Don't call him up and keep him in FCW.
Right.
That's the whole point of developmental to begin with. I would say Jackson was rushed to TV like so many before him, and when it was clear he wasn't at the level, McMahon got mad. Cut him loose in May 2011. The thinking is just mad.
So it sounded like calling up was a dead end for a good amount of folks back in the day before it became a thing in NXT later on down the line.
Henry also ran through him in December 2010. That's pretty much all he did. He is basically dead. No many other forgotten superstars.
Yeah, cool. This was cool, right? Now, I'm not sure they had one for the Ruthless Aggression era, but other than that, no, they did. I mean, the reality era. Other than that, though, this was a good list. A good amount. Now, this one had a good amount I don't remember. I thought I might have a good amount what I did remember, but no, I'm lying. It did have a good amount because only one I didn't remember too much was Jackson Andrews was somewhat. Eric vaguely. Of course, Caleb Croft I definitely remember. So this maybe this had the majority I do remember. The only one I did not know, only because he was on NXT when I wasn't really watching NXT yet, and that was Bram. Other than that, Bram being on WWE. Other than that, though, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.